Welcome to another episode of Have We Made It Yet? You know what? It is still crazy though, because before we get to that, my name's Lucas, the actor, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Josh Yang, the comedian.
Have We Made It Yet? The podcast where two creatives talk about their pursuits in making it.
Yeah, but not feeling too creative right now since everything is still on lockdown, entering 3-4 months now? I don't even remember.
Close to that, about 80 plus days.
Yeah.
As we start with every episode though, Mr. Josh Yang in your loud shirt and new setup, mind you. Have you made it yet?
I have not made it yet, but I am also now with natural lighting, which I probably should have tried this a lot earlier, but I guess I didn't want to show off my messy room, but whatever, this still looks better. So hopefully it comes off a little bit better, but that's a minor improvement, I would say. But yeah, that's about it. Lucas, have you made it yet?
No, I have not made it yet. But I do got to say though, your new webcam, your OnlyFans website though, they're going to love it.
Oh yeah, OnlyFans. You know what? I am, working on that in between my two podcasts. Just getting the initial launch content ready.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of salacious photos.
Josh's motto on OnlyFans: no nudes, only lewds.
Sure. Sure.
You know what? Okay, actually, I did put down two things on my list of things in our early banter on in this episode. I did figure out 2 things I need to work on in my acting. Okay, so I recently hurt myself at work.
Oh.
I sliced up my finger pretty good.
Ooh, yeah.
Which sucks, but it's also another lesson. I should slow the fuck down because I always rush things. And then eventually I end up hurting myself. So that's more of a lesson in general in life. So just slow down and take time that you need.
Right.
Also, another thing I realized after looking at self-tapes myself, I have sleepy eyes.
Well, as in the bags under your eyes?
Well, no. But I realized I don't think it's bags though. But
no, yeah, it's just your natural shape of your eye though.
Yeah.
Or are you talking about something else?
But okay, there's just one scene that I was doing with a scene partner, and I was trying to convince him of doing something, which was really detrimental to myself if that person didn't do it. And I was looking at myself, and I'm like, "Can you please do this? Just do it faster." And I realized I need to be more expressive with my eyes.
Yeah.
So I need to maintain eye contact with people a lot better. So just 2 things that I've realized I need to work on.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to determine if you're super natural on camera, then those things maybe just naturally do them.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I think I would be my face doesn't move at all whenever I speak. So I feel even if my face doesn't move, my voice doesn't move. So maybe people just don't even realize they're talking to me.
Josh, we know you exist though, because you matter, man.
Do I?
You
all
do.
Right. Okay.
But you briefly touched upon it though. We're at episode 20.
Did I? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did. Yeah, episode 20.
And for all the haters that said we wouldn't even make it past episode 5, you know what? There were no haters.
Yeah, everybody's pretty supportive.
Yeah. Everyone was, especially this next guest that we have here.
Oh, this next guest. We would not be here if it weren't for this next guest.
Exactly. I'm going to have to fight the urge to play this too natural because, to be honest, he's a good friend of ours. And if I was going to be completely honest, he is really the godfather of this podcast. I mean, if you've seen the earlier episodes, it was all his gear that he let us borrow. And if you've been with us since the beginning, it was actually at his place that you and I did our first chemistry test together.
Right.
Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
So I first met him in the summer of 2016. We had a good group of friends, but like we clicked because him and we shared in our artistic pursuits and cultural tastes. And to this day, I still look up to him as a mentor in music and film production, and also just in overall films too. You might know him best as the manager of the also talented artist Daniel Andrade, but he's also executive produced music videos and is an amazing photographer, as you can see on his Instagram and also on Daniella's Instagram too. You know what? Many people call him Jeff Kwok, but we get the privilege of calling him our good friend and also brother. So we can give it up for Mr. Jeff Kwok.
Hey. Oh, there it is.
Hurry up. Okay, there you are.
There it is.
Am I on? Am I live?
You are live, man.
You are live a week ahead of release. Yes.
What's good? Episode 20. Congrats, guys.
What?
Yeah, I mean, like everything, all the sound that you hear is all thanks to Jeff's equipment. I mean, this baby here is also Jeff's microphone. So as the Godfather, you know, you always got to pay respect to the Godfather. So Jeff is the one who's looking out for us. And thank you, Jeff.
Well, you're buying protection for my gears. So
yeah. Just
little mic condom I'm trying to use.
Little pop cover. Try to, you know, not be too harsh on the microphone.
I'm just glad you're putting it to good use, because I have a lot of stuff that I don't use and just kind of. I'm a bit of a gear whore, so
yeah.
Mr. Jeff Kwok, as we ask with every guest that we have on here.
Yes.
Have you made it yet?
You guys didn't ask yourselves that.
No, we did.
Yeah, we did.
In the beginning.
Did you?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah. He's not even listening to our beginning.
My bad. Well, I've made it onto this podcast, so I've made it this far. Yeah.
Nice.
We are now a platform podcast where people think that are going to get like their Colbert bump.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's the title of your podcast. It's hard for me to answer that, honestly, because I think you never really make it. And if you say you've made it, then you're whack.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just don't believe that you should ever make it, because then what happens next, right? Like your journey just ends. Like, is it like retirement making it? I mean, there's obviously different ways of saying that you've made it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I would imagine the initial, if it's not like when you're like a super young or like a kid, you're dreaming about like being a movie star or like a famous musician or whatever. I other than that fantastical image of what making it would be like, I guess if you're just starting out, you know, pursuing this kind of stuff, like you would probably have a goal, right? Like a specific goal that would be like, I just want to, right now, all I can see is if I can get up to here, well, like, you know, it could be like a short-term goal, or it could be like a long-term goal where it's like, now I feel like I have a career. I don't know, like exactly how, I forgot how you got into music production or that area, or like how you would even define like what you do, because you do so much right now. But like when you first started out, then what would you say is like the goal that you wanted to get to?
Oh man, I guess I've been really bad at setting goals and stuff like that. So I'm the wrong person to ask. But I've been trying to make that more of a point, you know, kind of set goals, like the 1-year goal, 5-year goal type of thing. But when I first started, I didn't really have set goals except for just like create, make stuff, try to make a living out of it. And I guess that would be like goal number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess like how long ago would you say is that? Like you've been, because like Lucas started last year, I started also kind of last year, but you've been at it for like definitely a few years now.
Yeah, it's been a bit longer than you guys. I think about 8 years ago was when I like quit my regular full-time job, and then decided to just freelance and start my own label with someone, Daniella, and just like try to make it in the business, I guess.
Yeah. Like with that point though, it's just honestly the randomness of life too and everything. But if you had stayed in your office profession, you would have never moved here, and the life you led would have not been what it is now. Can you go into more detail about what prompted you to quit your office job life and to pursue this life right now?
Yeah, I think I honestly fell into everything that has led up to this point. I met Daniella, the sole artist that I manage, I met her in 2011, I want to say.
Cool.
And then at the time I was working as an accountant in Edmonton. So kind of small town, didn't really know what to do career-wise, and just kind of like, I cheated through university, got a job.
Yeah.
And honestly hated my job, worked as an accountant for a few years, and I met Daniella, did some photos for her, and then we became friends. And then through that, kind of just got an opportunity to just help her out with her career. And everything just kind of snowballed through that, and I started managing her. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Nice. So when you first gravitated towards her, I guess my next question is, what inspires you or what gravitates you towards working and collaborating with creatives?
So when I first met her, I was still an accountant, but I was doing photography on the side. And really, it was just like I bought a camera. I was like trying to get whatever gigs I could. So I did like weddings and stuff, but I knew I didn't quite fully enjoy that either. It was more just like a way of, getting money, because there's not a lot of commercial stuff in Edmonton. So not a huge market as a photographer, or really it's hard to make it as a creative in Edmonton. So, sorry, I forgot your question.
No. Well, what inspires you or what attracts you to work with creatives?
I think I'm just a creative myself. And I've always, just being a creator, I like picking up stuff and hobbies that are just about making art, whether it's like photos, music, those are the main things I would say. But I wasn't much of a drawer. It was always like a medium through technology that kind of always made me motivated to pursue like photography, video, like cinematography, sound stuff. So it's like I was always a nerd, just like using computers, and then over time things just got more accessible, I think. And then those things would always pique my curiosity, and then I would do that. And then so I just like collaborating and working with other creatives. I think it just kind of
Was there kind of like, how did you feel about suddenly the opportunity to work with a specific artist in Daniella, and then like taking on the chance to manage her, doing something like as a manager of an artist, like especially your first artist, I imagine you didn't have very much experience in the industry doing it. So I was wondering, like, when you took on that job or role, did you have any, fears going into it, or it's like, oh, this is exciting, it's different, I've never done it before, but it's like, I wonder how far I can take it. Can you talk a bit about like that kind of decision to accept the challenge?
I mean, I didn't study anything about the music industry. All I did was like buy some books, like how to run I forget what it's called, but it's actually a pretty good book. It's like how to make it in the music business or something like that, or everything you need to know about the music business. It's kind of like a like the holy grail of like music industry books. Just summarizes like a little bit of everything that has to do with the music industry. Which also changes a lot of time, because the music industry is just changing rapidly, just like film and just like any other kind of creative or digital like medium. So Yeah, so sorry, I keep forgetting what I'm trying to answer.
It's like because the like when you hear people talk about like music managers, or it's like when you're managing musicians, like it's almost impossible for me to imagine like how does somebody even start that, right? Like you either work for a label and then you start going from the ground up, but like if you're just going for like a super kind of like you're not attached to a label. I don't think Daniella was attached to it definitely at the time, right? So it's just the two of you deciding to like go out and like take the brand, take your music and try to grow it. It's like in that moment though, like what were your then like expectations for, you know?
Yeah, well, like what was great was we were friends first, so it wasn't kind of like a random, just like probably like how you guys started this podcast as friends. It didn't have that pressure of, oh, we need, and any creative industry is already really hard to necessarily make it like, you know, a career. So as far as, I guess I had some expectations because I did quit my like regular 9 to 5 job to fully pursue this. But I kind of just, I don't know, I just kind of figured everything out on the fly. Yeah, I've always been, I guess, like entrepreneurial in that way, just like figuring stuff out. And being that about 9 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, the music industry was just changing very quickly. It was kind of like a time where you could make new rules and do things differently. And that's kind of how we did it. We kind of grew her fan base on YouTube when mainly what was on YouTube were like cat videos and like only a couple handful of like more prominent musicians or whatever. And I guess I was also on YouTube checking out those videos, and that's kind of how I first discovered Daniella. So she's from the same city as I am, but I was just like watching YouTube one day and then just saw a super talented girl just do acoustic covers. And then just like went on a wormhole of her videos, and then just like, well, she's super good, crazy talented. Went to her profile and just saw that she was also from Edmonton, and not a lot of people are from Edmonton if you consider the entire world, right? So that's when I reached out and offered her like a free photo shoot and all that stuff. That's how I met her, actually. With no intentions of like trying to manage her or anything like that. It was more like I was doing photos at the time again, some band photos, weddings, just whatever I could really do. So I just wanted to help like a local Edmontonian out and see like if she needed photos and whether that could help her and they could help my portfolio. So it was like really organic in that way. Yeah.
No, that's pretty interesting because like, in terms of actually finding someone that you can identify with and also create with, it's hard enough finding people in person, but you found them on YouTube, and you also found out that they're from Edmonton too, so the proximity and distance is even closer. In terms of her sound and her overall image, what was the initial attraction that you had in wanting to work with Daniella? Was it her choice of covers or just her overall voice?
I think mainly it was a bit of both, but like it was mainly just her voice, her texture. It was unique. It wasn't just like good and on pitch or whatever. It was very unique. Yeah, and obviously I'm biased, but there's really no one like her as far as like her tone. There's similarities of other artists, of course. A lot of people. But yeah, it was probably like her tone, her texture of her voice that really drew me to that like initial like YouTube loop on her videos.
How was the like the first few months or first few like years going through the managing process?
So I met her, I think 2011, I want to say. And then we just kind of like, I did the photos for her, and then we just kind of talked over like a span of a year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
I helped her do some like YouTube videos, like 6 months after doing the photos, and it kind of just became like little small kind of projects and collaborations together.
Right.
But then we got closer as friends, and we would like just talk about music, and we shared similar like favorite bands and artists.
Yeah.
So yeah, like eventually it led to like her kind of jokingly saying, hey, why don't you just manage me, kind of a talk. And then again, I wasn't loving my job, and I was like, it planted a seed, I guess, and it just made me think about, why don't I try this? Because from the very beginning, I saw the talent in her, right? and like her potential. But I was never thinking about really the business side, or how I could help her really grow that career, because I really didn't know much about it. But yeah, so the first couple of years was a lot of growing on YouTube, because I figured I would use what were my skills, even though those are skills that I were just kind of like picking up and learning. So like, back then, not a lot of people had DSLRs that can shoot video, and it was like the 5D Mark II that kind of changed this, like the video world, as far as like having a camera you can buy and have it look like cinematic or whatever. So I just kind of learned more of that side of stuff, like video production, and helped her film her like initial like YouTube videos. They're mainly acoustic, stripped down covers.
Right.
And yes, first couple of years weren't easy as far as making it like your full-time gig. It, definitely had to rely on my savings from having that regular to carry me through. But
crazy.
It still is terrifying though, sometimes, that initial plunge you have to do to really pursue what you want to do. I mean, of course, sure, as much as you do want to, but I think this really speaks to a bunch of different people who might listen to this, who might need that extra encouragement to take their leap. But is there a moment back at your accounting job that you realized, if I were to stay here anymore, I'd be giving up so much? Was there one moment that you remember walking to the office that you said that you had enough?
Dude, every day. I mean, obviously it's gradual, and I'm not shitting on like people with office jobs. It just clearly wasn't for me, because we need those people, right? We need accountants and lawyers and engineers and all those things. But I just went into it because I didn't know what else to do. I knew what to do, but it all goes back to this Edmonton mentality, where you feel like you're stuck in this city for whatever reason. And a lot of people, at least who I grew up with, didn't really go to school or universities outside of Edmonton. So for whatever reason, there is this mentality that you just like, you're going to be there for like the rest of your life. So then I'm like, well, what kind of jobs are in Edmonton? It's like construction, like oil and gas is what it's known for, right?
Yeah.
It's very, very blue collar. So I knew I didn't want to be like in a trade in that sense, because it just, I don't know, I'm weak and I'm frail. So I'm like, I'll be an accountant, like I'll make a career doing that. And then like 2 years in, it was just like
2 years. Wow.
Yeah, I did it for 2 years. Yeah. I just got very unmotivating, and then so I feel like everything just kind of lined up. It's like I saw the opportunity. Yeah. And I was maybe like thinking about doing photography like as a career while I was an accountant, because I was kind of growing that side of my skill set or whatever. And I guess everything I've learned hasn't been for nothing. No, like I still use my accounting skills, and being like going to school for accounting, you also take a lot of, like, I double majored in accounting and marketing actually. So, it, again, like I would have done the marketing side of things, but it was more like, you're not going to get an actual marketing job in Edmonton. Like there are marketing jobs, but you're marketing for like an oil company, construction company. Like it's just very, not that they aren't out there, but there's not a lot of creative stuff. So marketing probably would have meant like marketing research, like surveys and stuff like that, more than what I thought I liked in marketing, which is the creative side and like the agency side, like if anything. So
Wait, so then when was the like change in your mentality when it came to like, man, I got to move out of Edmonton, I got to go somewhere else, then you moved to Toronto? For me, it was like, you know, just graduating from university, I knew I couldn't stay in Vancouver anymore because I wanted a bigger change to grow and stuff. So then I guess, so then you quit your job to start managing Daniella, and then when you guys made the move out to Toronto, that was in 2016, I think Lucas said.
I want to say 2015.
2015, around there.
Yeah.
So what was what was that process like, coming to the decision as like, we should probably leave Edmonton because the opportunities would be better in Toronto? Or walk us through that.
Yeah, so we started getting some momentum like 2013, 2014, like a couple years in. We, you know, her following started to grow and grow more. And then, you know, we were doing stuff with like CBC, for example. They would fly us out and do like a video production thing. And that was like one of my first trips to Toronto. And just like, you know, seeing the city from like a small town. It was like very like eye-opening and just like exciting. And we made trips to New York to do some stuff too. So just like getting more exposure to the bigger cities and not having so much of this like, oh, I'm stuck in Edmonton mentality. So yeah, like just seeing these bigger cities kind of established the idea to both of us that we want to be in a bigger city, and we were able to live anywhere we really wanted to. Obviously there's like visa issues if we were to actually want to go to the States. So that was like a barrier. So we're like, hey, what's the biggest thing in what's the biggest city in Canada as far as music and creatives and entertainment and stuff like that? So Toronto was the obvious answer, I would say. So we just kind of made the move to Toronto. Daniella moved here in early 2015, and then I had like to rent out my place back in Edmonton and stuff like that. So I moved in the summer of 2015.
Crazy, man. I mean, of course, the transitions between like Edmonton and Toronto could be pretty great, and for a lot of people, it could be too jarring at the same time, though. But you, as a business manager for a creative artist, what areas do you think creatives are short-sighted on, and what, as a business manager, do you do to help the creatives see the bigger picture?
I think naturally creatives are probably short-sighted on the business aspect of it because they are just naturally creatives, and that's kind of the purpose for, you know, people who are on the business side of like the entertainment or creative industry. So I think it is important when you're starting out to, if you're like one of those creatives that just like don't know anything about business and finances and stuff like that, to still like understand the basics of it, because that's important. Like if you're probably not going to be able to have a luxury of a manager or something when you start, right? So how are you going to negotiate like even the smallest deal, right? Like how are you going to negotiate your bookings and your gigs and all that kind of stuff? So yeah, I think that would be like the everyone needs to know a little bit of their business, I think. And a lot of creatives just, I know it's like not fun, but yeah, it's important.
Would you say like your financial accounting is a really big hurdle, or at least something that creatives might need to have a better understanding of?
A little bit, yeah. I don't think you need to take a course for it or like, and yeah, naturally it's just because I took accounting, it's just a part of my like knowledge of stuff, and it comes in handy, right? Because I do. It's not like you need accounting, but if it's there, you have a good sense of finances overall and how to manage that. So yeah,
it really reminds me, because tax season just went by. Man,
Yeah.
I need to do a better job of keeping receipts.
I mean, a
Because like,
shoebox.
oh well, like yeah, like a shoebox would help, but like I'm like, thank God I have Vanessa, my girlfriend, but like she's like, you can claim these as expenses, and I'm like, oh, I don't want clutter, so I just throw away receipts. I'm like, oh, I'll claim it another year or something like that. She's like, it's only applicable for this year. So just the whole thing, I think.
You could probably like claim all your clothes that you buy, because you are like, no, for real, you're in that. And like, I just did Daniella's taxes too recently.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And yeah, like she, like every other creative, she just doesn't want to really organize. She's getting better at it, but you know, it saves you money at the end of the day, right? To keep those receipts, and
it does.
I know what you can expense, even if you can't expense it. At least having it, you get that option to.
Also, I would imagine if you're an artist and like you set up some kind of, sole proprietorship for yourself as a business, then like almost anything an artist does, you could almost kind of claim it as, an expense. And like, I would assume like at a certain stage, like once an artist gets to somewhere where they feel like they could do that, then you should probably set something up, because then the business taxes are just inherently cheaper than, if you were just a single personal tax, right?
Well, technically it shouldn't matter whether this is like tax tips 101 now, but it shouldn't matter if you are incorporated or just like filing your taxes under your own name. It's like, if it's eligible, then it's eligible, right? Like if you are an actor or a comedian and you need clothes to like be presentable when you're on stage, then that's a valid expense, right?
Yeah. So then that would be like being self-employed, and then you would just put it under that kind of title.
Yeah. So like technically, if just because you're incorporated, it doesn't mean you have more legit expenses just because you're incorporated, I guess. Don't take my word for it. Like, don't get audited because of what I say. But yeah.
On that note, though, can you tell us more about your record label, Crooked Lid Records?
Yeah. So me and Daniella, it's a label that we own together, and it's kind of been what we've been releasing everything under since 2012. So yeah, we've been kind of like fielding offers from labels, and like major labels, indie labels, and everything in between. But from the beginning, we never really had a set goal of like getting signed or anything like that. I guess we pride in ourselves to build just like to build a music company and to release music without needing like the man or like the big corporation or whatever. And when we started, that was the initial shift, right? Like that was when people could make music in like their own homes. They didn't need like crazy budgets or anything like that. It was kind of the start of that phase of music. And now it's like studios exist, but most music is probably made from this like guy's basement who sends it to someone who sends it to someone else, and it becomes like a crazy track, right? Yeah. Like the Lil Nas X track was literally like a basement producer. I don't know if you know the story, but Lil Nas X just bought a beat on the internet and then eventually became like,
I think so. Yeah, I heard that. It was like some kind of just SoundCloud or internet guy who's like from Europe or something, and he just does a bunch of different kinds of tracks or beats, puts it out there, and whoever wants to buy it and use it can just buy it, use it, and then
Exactly. Yeah,
that's how Lil Nas.
Yeah, that's how he found, and he was just like very small at the time. Just found a beat.
Yeah.
I bought the beat for like $50 or something on like
Marketplace.
And
so is that? Would you say that would be kind of one of the now modern routes towards music production, or if you're a musician, is to be like, you know, maybe start developing a following on YouTube, then, you know, have a couple business people that want to work with you, want to set up some kind of label, and then through your label production, you're able to like negotiate and interact with, say, bigger labels if you want to have extra like collaboration or work on projects. Does it feel like having your own label that you control is something that helps making it in the industry?
No, I think the label thing is more of a technicality. It's more of like you know, I think we do have a goal of maybe like in the future, like working with other artists and helping grow their careers. But yeah, like if you're a new artist now, you don't need to, being under any sort of label doesn't give you any like advantage over not being on a label, because you can make a label right now and just call it like Josh Yang Records and it's a label, right? So our label Crooked Records doesn't have a name. So yeah, it all comes down to just like what content you create, like how good is your music, how good is like your branding and like that kind of stuff, I would say.
No doubt. Speaking of branding though, like a huge part I would say of your and Daniella's collaboration is you guys producing all your like really high concept music videos, like Tamale and Polly Pocket are some of my favorite videos of you guys. Can you go into the process of creating a music video from ideation, from conception to all the way to post-production?
Yeah, it varies. I would say sometimes it's like an idea that Daniella has, like the moment she finishes the song, she might have already had like a music video or a visual concept tied to the music that she's writing. Obviously, not every artist is like that, but she's really into films and the visual medium, so it's a big part of how she writes. Like her music is like kind of cinematic in that way. So for like Polly Pocket, for example, it was like right after she wrote the song, she kind of already had an idea for it, I think. And then you just kind of reach out to like these are fully produced music videos too. So like Polly Pocket was done in Montreal. It was like a 3-day shoot with like, you know, a 20-person crew. So it's like our earlier videos were a lot more like me and her and me just doing like a simple setup, like in the corner of our like my room or whatever, or my apartment or studio or like whatever location that is free. But yeah, I guess as of late we wanted to step up the production and actually put money into it. Canada is great because you get grants from Factor to fund a lot of stuff. So a lot of our production budgets are thanks to like, you know, the government in Canada and stuff like that too. So yeah, it varies. Sometimes it's like a director also kind of collaborating with Daniella and figuring out a concept and then making it come to life.
Nice. Just almost about to wrap it up, but I've always liked to ask these like last two questions with every guest we have on here. But with you being a music manager and working with creatives and trying to pursue that path, in light of all that's happening in the world right now, what does being an artist mean to you?
I think being an artist means to me being someone who has a voice, who has a platform, and I think it's important that like you don't take it for granted and you use it for good overall.
Mm.
Doesn't mean you have to like chime in on everything, but yeah, I think you do have like a level of influence, and I think a lot of artists are using that to just like make the world a better place. So yeah.
Would you like? How would you then describe how, like, how you and Daniella's approach to using that platform then, in terms of like how you guys want to put what's important to you out there on your platform?
Yeah, I think it can vary from like just posting something on Instagram to
Yeah,
also like what kind of songs you write, um, and nothing should be forced. So you shouldn't be like, oh, this is happening right now, so let's like do this, because I think a lot of brands nowadays are also accused of like
yeah,
using, I don't know what the term is, but basically like, kind of like the act of donating just to like get a good image or whatever. So
yeah,
um yeah, if just you just have to be yourself at the end of the day. And I think a lot of these things that are happening, they should affect us if you're like,
yeah.
if you're in tune with everything. And yeah, so
Speaking on that, like, with given how the quarantines, shut everything down, like, Lucas and I have talked a bit about how it's affecting acting, uh, film production. For me, like, how the comedy scene is like basically put on standstill. How have you found like the music industry has been affected, or like your ability to like further promote Daniella? I remember like you saying, back months back, you guys were going to go to like a festival in the Dominican, and then I think that got canceled, right?
yeah, we went to the Dominican. This is like middle of March, so right when things were shutting down.
Oh.
And then it got canceled the day after we got there. So yeah, like I think musicians are hurting as far as like they can't do shows, and generally speaking, that's a huge part of like how musicians make money, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we had like a plan to go on tour later this year, that kind of stuff. So I think we just have to be like innovative and like figure out ways of navigating this kind of quarantined world.
Yeah.
I guess you can like make music and make
right.
stuff, create. That's the best way, but it can be like unmotivating sometimes too when you're just like,
yeah. Especially if everybody else is like, well, I mean, we would like to sign them or get them on to do shows that we manage throughout the industry, but it's like, well, nobody else is doing anything. We can't really make any decisions. Everybody's just waiting until something happens.
Yeah, everyone is doing like live Instagram live shows and stuff when at first, and yeah, I think it's kind of like died down a little bit, and those don't really make you, they keep you engaged with your fans, which is great, but it's also like it was kind of oversaturated too at some point. And it's definitely not the same, right? Like a Zoom show is not gonna be the same as a live show at all. So
Zoom shows are terrible.
Have you done a Zoom show, Josh?
No, I haven't, because I know what they're gonna be like, and I know it's it's kind of hard to. It's almost pointless.
Yeah,
not totally pointless. Like, I would say, like, if you're doing like writing groups and amongst like comedians to work on material, then sure.
Yeah,
but like shows, in my mind, is like you're getting the very minimum. Like, if anything, it's kind of like something to do.
Yeah.
But because I don't think I haven't turned it into my full career now, where like there are career comedians that like need to do something, or like continuously at least put themselves in front of people, or else it's like a feeling like you're not going to be relevant or whatever. But like in terms of working on material and stuff, it's those type of Zoom shows, I just never see the initial value to it.
Right.
But then again, it's like, hey, if people want to do Zoom shows, people should do Zoom shows, because it's you still gotta do something. It's a lot of like uncertainty on what to do, when to do it, when to get back.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, like, there's social distancing shows that can kind of exist and be safe and all that kind of stuff in the near-ish future. So,
who knows? Who knows?
Just go to the park and like get like a speaker PA system and just do a bit.
I kind of the last little show thing I did was like a week or so ago, where like other people I know in my building, we went up to the rooftop just to chill for a little bit, and then they had a couple friends over, and it was like, oh, Josh can do comedy, just let him do 5 minutes. So I did. So I just did a quick set that I had done for months beforehand, so it was polished in front of some people on our rooftop. And our rooftop. Our rooftop has a sweet view. Like we got a sweet view of the skyline at the CN Tower. So that was kind of nice being able to do some comedy up there. That was the first time I did comedy in front of people in like months, and it was good to just get that exercise or do the motions and prepare yourself mentally for that. So I guess in that sense, Zoom shows are pretty good to do, or like Instagram Live is pretty good to do, because at least you're in that mentality where you're performing.
Yeah, but I feel like for comedy, you need that like
live
reaction. So like a rooftop in person makes sense.
A lot better.
But a Zoom call, I can just imagine it being like, oh.
I know, everyone laughing at different times. Your internet connection is spotty.
So do you let the crowd just like react? Are there mics live, or do they
no? I mean, for what I just did, it was just me in front of like maybe 8 people, and it was just me, like, just no mic. I was just saying it in front of them, and it's like
the rooftop thing you're talking about.
Yeah, just on the roof. So it was really just casual. It wasn't really any setup, and it really shouldn't be, because it was just going to be me doing 5 minutes. Like if it was any more thought was put into the producing of it, it's like, what is the point of that? And there was like nobody else there was going to do comedy, so nobody was really in the mood for it, because you kind of need to build it up. You have to set the environment. You have like an opening act. You have a host or whatever, and then where you break the audience down and you get them in the mood to laugh. Then you give them the permission to laugh when they're amongst people and everybody is laughing. But if it's just me doing 5 minutes, it's already like an unnatural setup. So it's like, no, I don't need lights. I don't need like a microphone. I'll just say these jokes, and it is what it is.
Right. But still miles ahead of a Zoom show.
Oh, absolutely. At least with like music and like comedy is a weird thing. It's like, it's one of the, I think it might be the only or one of the very few performing arts where it's like, it isn't just you performing to the audience and then the audience can't do anything, right? Like for like music, most of the time the audience, if they sing along, they sing along, but there isn't as much an element of audience interaction. You're there to see the musician, you're there to listen to the musician. It's kind of one way for the most part. And like for comedy, it is kind of one way, but if the whole point is to get a reaction to anything you say in terms of your jokes, like whatever you say in the beginning, that reaction will affect how you do later on. Whereas like in songs or like concerts, most of the time, I would imagine your fans are there. They kind of know the songs. They want to see you perform certain songs. They have the expectation. And like for plays or theater, it's like, you're not allowed to say, you're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to interact, don't heckle, anything like that, right? But there is like an element of crowd work in comedy. So there is interaction with the audience that in general, any other kind of performing art, there isn't really. For sure. So it's odd to do that over Zoom. Yeah, so it's weird.
Yeah.
Should we go to word associations? I think it's about that time right now.
Yeah. Let's finish it off with some words.
You know what, Josh? Let's try this. Hey, you want to rock, paper, scissors? And then, like, the winner goes first. I just want to...
Okay. All right. Okay.
Shoot on 3.
All right.
Rock.
Wait, are we not... You go. I'll just follow you.
Okay.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Oh, you're scissors?
Are you scissors as well?
I'm scissors.
This is really entertaining for the podcast listeners.
I'm just gonna go first. I thought 20th episode we try something different.
Yeah.
All right.
Buzzkill, Josh.
Yeah. So we talked about this before recording, but Mr. Jeff Kwok, just say whatever short phrase or word that you think of once I say this one word. Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's gonna go rapid fire. Okay. All right. You feeling loose? Okay. You want to take another swig? Okay.
All right. Ready. I'm ready.
Good shit. Good shit. Okay. First word. Frank.
Ocean.
L.A.
Say again.
L.A.
Palm trees.
Crooked.
Lid.
Namaste.
Yoga.
Solange.
A seat at the table.
Ooh, nice. Tamale.
Daniella.
Tour.
Cancelled.
Accountant.
Boring.
Square.
Space.
Jeff.
Kwok.
Ooh, that was
fast. Very good. Yeah, one of our few contestants that's like been going like boom, boom, boom.
Was I supposed to give more thought to it? Because
No, you were supposed to give like zero thought. If anything, it was supposed to be like the first thing that comes to your mind.
I'm like, am I giving like unthoughtful answers right now?
Nope. You just gotta be zen, have your mind completely blank, and then just go for it. Okay, I'll go through mine. If you're gonna react, if you're gonna do quick ones, I'll also do quick. So, all right, let's do this. Okay, first word, family.
Kwok.
Pineapple.
Pens.
Rain.
Sucks.
Alone.
Me.
Motivation.
Need some of that.
Okay, kumquat.
What?
Kumquat.
I don't know what that means. I've heard of it.
Okay.
Unknown.
All right. Mountain.
Views.
Tightrope.
Joker.
Oh, satisfied.
Got no.
Got no satisfaction. I got no. Ending.
Movie.
Wait, no, that wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't. You could. Oh, that was so obviously not what you were gonna. What were you gonna say? Was it
happy?
Happy ending. Hey, you know what? You didn't have to be. I thought you just put it out there. Happy ending.
Love it.
Happy ending. Happy ending to the film. Nothing else. There's no other. Exactly. There's no second meaning to that.
Exactly. You perverts. You're OnlyFans. Ugh.
Yeah. Are you actually on OnlyFans?
No. If I only had fans, that would already be great.
Well, you gotta start. You gotta start somewhere.
All dude, no nudes, only lewds.
Yeah.
That can be your username.
You want to manage my OnlyFans career?
Dude, I've been trying to manage you guys for the longest time, especially Lucas and his mukbang career, but
yeah, just Lucas eating. We should just have a podcast where it's just Lucas and I eating things.
I think so too.
Doing mukbang.
You guys should do a special edition where you just like make it a game show or a mukbang.
Episode 50.
Where we have like previous guests on as contestants, and then
exactly
Zoom contestant show.
Where can people find you, Jeff?
Where can they find me? They can find me in Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, wow.
No, they can't. Quarantine. You mean online? You mean
online? Your handles, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Kwok on Instagram, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. What's what about any kind of like your label social media or anything like that?
Don't use it, so it's non-existent.
Or I mean, okay,
you can look up Daniella Andrade, Daniel Andrade on most things. Yeah, that's
anything. Yeah, anything to promote for her then, since you are like the manager and
new music coming out
What?
Yeah, everything's still kind of in the works right now.
Yeah.
You can stream our last project, Tamale, out now.
All right, cool. We'll include some links to that.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
All right.
Mm-hmm. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at Lucas John Ng. Ng is 2 letters, NG, no vowels.
And you can find me at Josh Yang Comedy across Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And, if you want to sleep with Josh, the podcast, Sleep with Josh, then you can look at that up as well across all podcast platforms. Last couple episodes, I'll be reading the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So get woke while you get tired. Yeah.
And find this podcast and all our other episodes at HWMIY Podcast on Instagram and Have We Made It Yet Podcast on YouTube and on Spotify.
Yeah, and like, subscribe, follow, give us reviews actually, because we do want to know how we're doing and if you have any advice, constructive criticism.
Yeah, I swear there's always one bot that gives a thumbs down on YouTube. There's always one thumbs down. Yeah,
there are also a lot of comments that just appear like or not a lot. Like there's always one comment that appears right away, but it's like obviously did not go through the entire podcast. Still appreciate it. We still appreciate the comment, but
it helps your algorithm.
All right, algorithm. You must know. You probably know a lot about YouTube algorithms and how to know. Okay. All right. Well, either way, that's the end of the podcast. So, thanks for listening.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.